Hey everyone, Cacao with Andrew Hilton here, and this week we got something a little bit special for you. I've had this idea kicking around the back of my mind for a few weeks now, and we finally had enough beers rolling that we could actually do it. Welcome to Chocolate Week. We're going to do 4 beers with the primary ingredient of chocolate. Now, happily, we don't have a chocolate sour, or God help us, a chocolate IPA, but what we do have in front of us is 4 chocolate stouts from 4 very different breweries in 4 very different formats. To start off here, we have the Young's Double Chocolate Stout. Now, this is a beer that we've been carrying since probably 2005 or 2006. Originally in bottles, now in cans. This is the reference one. This is the classic. We couldn't do a chocolate stout tasting or chocolate beer tasting without this one. Then let's dig into what's new. We'll start down here at the other end. This is the one that I was really excited to see because this was the 4th. This was the last beer to finally line up for us. Moody Ales out of Port Moody, BC, who have made, of course, the Flamingos and the Lavender Sour. They've got a brand new chocolate oatmeal stout fresh for the winter season. That's going to be fun. And then from Cabin, we have their Fuego. This is their Mexican hot chocolate stout. So it's a very high alcohol, 11.5 chocolate Imperial stout with hot peppers. And then here, well, we're gonna give Collective Arts another kick at the can. These are the same folks who made All the Things, but they've also rolled out with this absolutely fascinating series called Origin of Darkness. Now they've rolled out 4 different unique Imperial stouts, all collaborating with different breweries. This is from Garage Project, is the collaborator on this one. So this is an Imperial stout aged in oak barrels and finished in tawny port barrels with New Zealand Pinot Noir, South Pacific vanilla, and New Zealand cocoa. So I've had it. It's absolutely incredible. The whole series was absolutely incredible, but this is the only one I could get an extra flat of. So lots of chocolate, lots of different interpretations, lots of different styles. So all that and more coming up Wednesday, November the 24th at 6 o'clock. Hey everyone, Cacao with Andrew Hilton here. Welcome to our chocolate beer tasting. Maybe this one's going to be a little less technical than you're expecting. Maybe this is one you're going to have maybe less discussions about the breweries and the brewers and the brewing techniques because, well, it's Chocolate Week and it's all about the hedonism because, well, I mean, I could get into the real long, boring conversation about how chocolate beer is one of the oldest styles and the Mesoamericans made chicha and flavored it with cacao, and that has nothing whatsoever remotely to do with the beers in front of us. So we're just going to skip it because it doesn't actually matter. Because chocolate stout, as it exists today, Young's is the oldest consistently going chocolate stout. Where does the heritage of these 4 beers come from? The same place that Oatmeal Stout comes from, the same place that Milk Stout comes from. Now, Oatmeal Stout and Milk Stout were considered to be health beverages. They were, marketed with milk and oatmeal in them because they emphasized the healthy benefits of drinking beer. This was in the age where doctors would recommend certain brands of cigarettes as being less bad for you. So, your mileage might vary there. But the brewers learned a lesson from that and said, well, if we're flavoring beer with things, maybe people will buy them if we just put trendy ingredients in them as well, not just healthy ingredients in them. And so Young's Double Chocolate Stout and so many other chocolate stouts were born, not because they were particularly good for you or any better for you, but they were a way to incorporate a Victorian craze, which was chocolate, with not quite a craze in Victorian England, but certainly a dominant beer style of the time in stout, or as it was known then, stout porter. So chocolate stout has been around for about 250-ish years. We're still drinking it today. The only real holdout through the, malaise years of beer brewing of the 1970s, 80s, and 90s, when Molson and Labatt literally controlled 99.1% of the industry, and the only thing reasonably close to a stout in the market was Labatt's Velvet Cream Stout, which possibly could have been good. Probably wasn't, but I wasn't really, old enough to drink or born for most of the years that it was made, so I can't really comment. So, order tonight, we are going to go with the Moody, then the Young's, then the Cabin Fuego, and we will finish up with the Origin of Darkness, or one of the 4 versions of Origin of Darkness that are available. This is the only one I could get additional stock of. This is the Garage Project version. So, let's open with Moody Ales. This is a chocolate and oatmeal stout. Moody Ales, of course, these are the folks who make the Flamingos and the Lavender Sour. So many really cool breweries between Twin Sails, these folks, Yellow Dog, all based in Port Moody. Hopefully that town's still there. I mean, the whole West Coast flooding thing kind of makes me wonder if, like, oh yeah, Moody Ales. I hope they still exist, because, man, that's a heck of a mess, and it's not a whole lot better on the East Coast, so, you know, just hold tight, Lethbridge homeowners. You may have oceanfront property sooner than you think. Ooh. This is more subtle than I expect from a chocolate stout. There's something very pretty here with like hot peppers or maybe cumin, but I don't think that's actually in the ingredient list, which is helpfully not provided on the can. They say oatmeal stout brewed with copious amounts of chocolate, and then they don't actually provide an ingredient list. But yes, I get the oats. I get that freshness of the oats, and I do get the chocolate, but maybe there's some leftover chili peppers in my glass from having the Fuego, but I don't think so. I think this is actually coming from the Moody Ales. There's something spicy here. There's something rich here, and because chocolate can have all of those characteristics, it might just be coming from the chocolate. Now, chocolate is a very finicky brewing ingredient. I did talk to a couple of brewmasters before doing the tasting about chocolate in particular when I was up in Calgary last week. Chocolate sucks to brew with. It's incredibly oily. It's very, very expensive. Getting raw cocoa is kind of prohibitive. You have to be very careful with it. You almost have to treat it like hops. It has to be in these vacuum sealed foil bags. They can't be exposed to oxygen. They can't be exposed to light. It has to be very carefully treated. And yet, if you want to brew with like finished chocolate, the oil all rises to the top and it creates this oil sheen on top of the beer, and you kind of can't can that because the beer will pour out with like an oil layer on top. So chocolate's not the easiest ingredient going. This is about what I'd expect from like a North American made classic chocolate stout. The oatmeal's in good presence. The chocolate's very nice. I will say, when we get into the last two beers, they're both very high alcohol, small cans. And while I think these are really interesting beers, I don't think I could have more than one. If I had this Moody Ales on tap, I think I'd be able to order another pint. I will say there's something vegetal, oddly bitter. Maybe it's a bit of dying hop, maybe it's... I'm not sure, but there's something a little off-putting on the finish in this one for me. I like it, but I don't love it. Eric, are you really going to mess around with the tasting order? I mean, the Fuego's big. Like, would you want it last? Would you want it first? Eric, where are you putting this Fuego? Because I'm pretty comfortable with it third. I'm curious where you want it. Chris is right on the edge of baking chocolate, which I think is pretty correct. Grant, I think you're right on with the earthiness of the grain, because it's not that black patent malt thing where you get the de-bittered like fruity notes from the black malt. This is more a classic roasty British expression malt. So yeah, you do definitely get the coffee notes. You get the almost burnt bread, burnt toast characteristic, which I really like. And the chocolate here isn't coming off as artificial. I think if I have any complaint about the Youngs, which we'll get to in a minute, sometimes I think the chocolate comes off a little artificial. We'll see how that goes. How can anything follow chili peppers? Well, this can. We will discuss why in a minute. And yes, we do indeed have super saturation on tap. We relaunched the growler station. It needed a relaunch. We needed to clean it. We needed to take the growler program a little more seriously. So we took everything off, dumped the kegs, cleaned the whole system, and relaunched with 4 beers that we really liked, all from our 4 favorite breweries, Annex 88 Cabin and Establishment. Aaron's destroying lighting rigs in the background.
Holy.
Well done, Aaron. Yeah, we haven't even gotten to the high-test beers yet, Aaron. Like, how are you already staggering around ruining lighting rigs? Like, good lord. For shame. All right, so Young's Double Chocolate Stout, our beer 2 tonight. London will always be Young's. I don't know exactly what that means, but all right. This was a beer that we've carried for 15 years-ish. When I took over the beer program in early 2003, this was one of the very first things that I asked that we bring in, or did bring in. In those days, it came in a weird 8-pack mini flat of 500 ml bottles, and they were more than twice the price they are now. I think we sell these for like the princely sum of $3.95 a can or $4.95 a can. I remember selling bottles of literally this volume, or maybe 23 mls more. No, because this is a 500 ml can. Literally this exact volume for like $7.95, like 12 years ago, 15 years ago. Young's has come down in price, which is a very good thing. But this is, to me, the classic chocolate stout. There had been some Canadian chocolate stouts that had kind of trickled in and out of the market before this. But Young's was the one that, to me, reminded me of milk chocolate, like caramel bars. It was too decadent almost to drink. It was so sweet. It was so, I can only have one. And yet, compared to what's coming, I think this is actually going to come off quite constrained. But I'm curious. I do like this beer, but how's it going to compare to the new stuff? How's it going to compare to the latest, craziest, Imperial Stout aged in oak barrels and finished in tawny port barrels with New Zealand Pinot Noir, South Pacific vanilla, and New Zealand cacao? Like, if I have to take a breath mid-sentence to describe the bloody beer, how's Young's established 1831 going to compare? Well, let's find out. Oh, the carbonation's really soft, and the chocolate sure comes through, but it's not. I remember historically this being like super milk chocolatey, but this comes off more like Tootsie Roll, or even like Tootsie Roll Pop. It's more of like a cooked caramel with like a touch of chocolate to it. I like that, but when I call it double chocolate, when I think double chocolate, I'm thinking, dark and milk chocolate, or dark chocolate, and I hate myself, so there's white chocolate in there. I don't know if I call that double chocolate. I think that's nice, but Tootsie Roll Pop more than anything else to me. There's also something mildly ashy here, which I assume is how they're treating the grain, the malt. There's also a real fruitiness to this, which I'm actually really grooving on. And I have to think that fruitiness is coming from the yeast. They're definitely using, because Young's is a very old-fashioned English brewery. I have to think they're using something like Pride of Ringwood, or a very traditional old-school British yeast, which is going to throw a ton of apple and cherry and classical fruit notes. And I definitely get that in this, and that's all coming from the yeast. I don't think any of the other breweries can ever compare with that yeast characteristic, which is fun. Oh yeah, that's so English, it's crazy. Historically, Big Rock's yeast strain actually used to come off kind of like this, which is why I really like Warthog, 20 years ago. Ooh, Junior Caramels is a great call, by the way. Nitro bubbles. And yes, you're absolutely right, Chris. It's very different from the first. I mean, it's one of those old school recipes, and I did try to track this down. I don't think Young's Double Chocolate Stout survived the great, death inning of the beer industry in the 70s, 80s, 90s. I think Young's did, but it kind of came back when craft beer started getting trendy again in the mid to late 90s. I do think that Young's Double Chocolate Stout did die out. I can't give a 100% answer to that, but I did quite a bit of reading on the Young's, certainly more than any of the other beers combined. And yeah, they claim Young's established 1831. I really tried to find like a definite source that said Young's survived from when it was first brewed, this double chocolate stout, right to present day. I think like most really cool beers, it took about a 20-year break between 1975 and 1995, which, fair enough, that was the malaise era of beer. Ooh, banana, Devon. All right. Oh yeah, and like chocolate chip banana bread. Absolutely, yes. And yeah, it does start strong with the flavor and then kind of peters out. I think that's kind of the style that is in the UK. It's supposed to finish clean. I think that's coming from a reasonably warm ferment, so you get a nice crisp finish. I don't get anything very chemically off this on the finish, so I don't think that's a flaw. I think it's just designed to finish reasonably fresh. Is there a widget in the can? Yeah, there is. Most definitely is. I actually didn't know that before you asked, so.
Beer dongle.
A beer dongle? The mini ping pong ball.
There you go, yeah.
Full of, I don't know, powdered nitrogen. I actually don't know how those work. I mean, they must interact with oxygen, like when you open the can.
Sure.
I don't know how those work. I don't know the chemistry. I'd be very curious to learn, but I have no idea how they actually work. All right, Fuego, the beer that we are, at least the most internet infamous for, because the very first release of Fuego, which came out in 500 ml glass bottles from Cabin, we spoiled 3 days before Cabin actually announced Fuego was coming out. We actually talked about it on this very same beer tasting. It's a miracle Cabin still deals with us because we kind of fucked this one up really bad. So the reason I'm now very, very, very careful, and when I say I can't talk about this or I can't talk about that, what I have in the forefront of my mind is this beer, because we kind of wrecked Cabin's release and we got in a lot of trouble for it. Well, I did. This is a Mexican hot chocolate stout. Has fresh cocoa, has hot peppers, I believe has a touch of cinnamon to it as well. And yes, I did get us in a touch of trouble on this last time around. So, not spoiling anything, this has been out at the brewery for about a month now. So, let's dive into this. I like this interpretation. I like hot pepper stouts. I have had some other hot pepper chocolate stouts. I like that whole style. I think it's a fun interpretation. I don't love that it's, 11.5%. I would like it to be lower, but the beer itself's cool. Let's dive in here. Yes, it's the first time in the tasting. It's the second time it's been mentioned, unfortunately. So you notice as soon as we get into the Imperials, the sweetness goes up, and that's because yeast tends to ferment on a gradient. The higher the alcohol of the beer, the less efficient the yeasts are. So a very high alcohol beer, whether it be an Imperial Stout or an Imperial IPA or a barley wine or what have you, the more alcohol in the beer at its finish point, the less efficient the yeasts are and the sweeter it always is. You can kind of cheat and get around that by adding champagne yeast, but champagne yeast kind of leaves a very different carbonation and can leave a very particular feel in your mouth or a very particular taste. I don't know, I find champagne yeast is a very particular flavor that kind of leaves me like bitter green apple in its own way. Not so much in champagne. In champagne it seems fine, but when they use champagne yeast in a beer, it leaves me with this bitter green apple skin flavor that I don't 100% love. So I'm kind of glad they used a different yeast for this. It ends up being medium sweet. The hot peppers just keep going and going and going, which I like. It's very spicy. I definitely get cinnamon notes. I don't know if that's actually because I've added cinnamon or whether that's the hot peppers and chocolate combined, but I definitely get a strong cinnamon note. I do like this cabin. Oh, we have some mixed comments on this one. Oh, I love it. Licking the bottom of the spice cabinet, not sure what to think. Too much going on, no. Bit of peppermint, okay. I liked this one. And I love that everybody else doesn't, because that's wild to me. I love this. Varnish, cracked varnish. Oh, I thought I was mean. Ouch, okay, good.
Yeah, it's like should just be a chili ingredient.
I like this though. And sure, okay, fine, nobody else does. Soapy Swedish fish.
You don't even know what I get.
So what I get is I get the milk chocolate, and then I get just the rolling heat, the rolling hot peppers across my palate. And that keeps this. Okay, nobody else seems to like this. Fine. Why do I like this? Let me defend myself. Yes, there's some soapiness to it. I think that's the high alcohol. Why do I like this? Because so many Imperial stouts, and we'll get to this with the Origin of Darkness, they always end up so sweet. Now, how do you balance that sweetness? You could add hops. I find really hoppy Imperial stouts edging into the realm of black IPAs, and so I hate them. I find you can barrel age it, and we'll get into that with the Origin of Darkness, and it kind of changes the nature of the sweetness, and it makes it a little different. With this, they had the hot peppers, and I like that balance of sweet and hot. I like that sweet heat characteristic. I also quite like sweet heat wings, like Thai chili wings. I think they're great. I like that the sweetness here is counterbalanced by the bite of that heat, the bite of the chili peppers. That's really fun for me. I don't get a lot of the chemical varnish characteristic. I actually quite like this beer, but if I'm the only one, fair enough. Oh, 80s Thrills gum. Oh man, we are getting some hot takes on the tasting notes right here. Not expecting it. Oh, you weren't expecting to like the spice? I like the spice here. Apple tree leaves, Thrills gum, red hot gummies. Oh man, I love when we have a controversial beer. Nothing better. So, and oddly enough, I'm actually on the side that likes it. Usually I'm on the side that hates it. So this is a novel experience for me. I'm never on the side that likes it.
I actually don't hate it.
You don't hate it? All right, Sky, who is a very fussy beer drinker.
Yeah.
Sky does not hate it.
Pretty smooth.
Aaron is not on the fan side. Aaron does not like this.
Yeah, I'm getting that cough syrup thing.
You're getting cough syrup, like Triminic.
Triminic, yeah.
There's, you know what? Now that you say that, there's definitely like the way Triminic finishes, again.
Yeah, that's
probably haven't like 15. It's like a eucalyptus thing right at the very back.
Yeah.
If you said red Triminic to me, yeah. Did they even still make Triminic? Like,
maybe not in.
I remember it growing up, but like, is Triminic still a thing with like the little man on the bottle?
I don't know. I haven't been a kid in ages, and I don't have any. So you'd have to ask a.
You have to ask a child, which on our 18+ beer tasting channel probably isn't appropriate.
Kind of Turkish Delight. There's one on there that's interesting. I definitely get that.
Turkish Delight. Yeah, Big Turk.
Big Turk.
Everyone liked Big.
Delight.
Yeah, my dad ate a lot of Big Turk.
I love Big Turk, but.
Yeah.
I feel like.
My dad also really liked Rocky Road, which was just like marshmallow covered in chocolate. And we used to get it for him for Christmas because you could only get it out of the U.S. at the time. Now you can get it at like the good candy store downtown here. They always have it in like 2 other flavors, the almond and the whatever the hell other flavor. I don't buy it because I don't like it, but I get it for my dad every Christmas. I get him a couple bars.
Oh sure, yeah. Dad gifts.
Dad gifts.
I like this, therefore.
Well, no, he likes those bars. I don't like them, but he likes them. So I'll get him a couple of bars, and I'll get him, like, I don't know, a gift certificate to, like, a good butcher or something, or a nice bottle of cognac.
He likes, so
No.
give it back to him.
No, my dad's always been really good for that.
Good gift.
You know what? He always understood there were things he liked that I liked.
Yeah.
Well, he got me golf gifts for years before I basically said, I hate golf. I will always hate golf. Stop making me like this.
Yeah.
But, you know, apart from that, which I think we all got sorted out when I was 16, he's always been very good about gifts, actually.
Sure. Well, that's good.
Well, that was a hell of a tangent, wasn't it?
Endorsement for your pops there. Not bad. We should
talk about the next tasting?
Yeah.
All right, let's talk. Yes, let's tangent for a second here. So, next week, assuming that I am here. If not, it'll be hosted by Aaron.
Oh my God. Okay.
I won't get into why, but there is a chance that I may not be here next week. And if so, it will be hosted by 3 very capable people. One of which is Aaron. But we are going to be doing a Hell's Basement profile tasting because one of my very best friends in the world, Adrian Bruce, now works for Hell's Basement Brewery, and he is going to join us from Edmonton, and Nicole Schmunk from Hell's Basement is going to join us from Medicine Hat, as well as 99% one of the head brewers from Hell's Basement. They're going to join us to talk about some of their beers. Now, from this lineup, we have 3 of their tall cans, and also my longtime favorite, shut up, Aaron, my longtime favorite Rise Against the Machine's Rye Brown Ale, which has always kind of struck me as kind of this perfect balance between a porter and a brown ale. It's got the spice of the rye. It's very pretty. I've always loved Rise. It's the one that we've carried literally since Hell's Basement opened. We haven't had it off the shelf. We're going to contrast that with 2 different sours. They're collab between them and Bent Stick, Hell Bent, which is a Westlanders Brown style, which is not the most common sour style in the world, but I really like it. It's got this really like big cherry note, and then they're contrasting it with a raspberry fruit edition. And then they've got their current sour, which is a plum sour. And then their No Man is an Island New England Pale Ale, which, let's be honest, in this market, kind of got to make a good New England IPA if you're going to be taken seriously. So let's see if we need to take them seriously. So that's coming up next week. It will be myself, Nicole, Adrian. It'll be a 3-part tasting with 3 different guests. It'll be really fun. So that's coming up. And if I am in fact not here because I'm away, it'll be Aaron, Nicole, and Adrian. And won't that be fun for everyone except Aaron? All
right.
Yeah, it'll be fine. And then coming up in 3 Fridays. Good Lord, that's coming up really fast. Yeah. We have a new whiskey tasting. This is Kavalan from Taiwan. Literally the distillery that made me finally put International Single Malts in the Scotch room. We're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, not that one, 5 of their whiskeys. I'm going to do it for $40 for the tasting kit. We're going to be joined by William Schoen from Kavalan, and we will be doing a lovely 5 whiskey tasting of honestly one of the most interesting, challenging new distilleries I've tasted in a long time. So that will be a lot of fun. Okay, so let's get on to Origin of Darkness. So here we are, Collective Arts, makers of all the things, and we have another Imperial Stout that has a whole lot of ingredients. I'm looking at you with a great deal of judgment and worry, because God, I hated all the things. But I will say, like I said in the promo, Devin hates sweet beer. Devin generally hates barrel-aged beer. He certainly doesn't like high-alcohol beer. He almost invariably dislikes beer with a lot of added ingredients because he generally likes pilsners or very light pale ales. This is a incredibly complex barrel-aged super high alcohol Imperial Stout that Devin couldn't get enough of. So it's already, for me, past the harshest critic I could ever ask it to pass, and it passed with like flying colors. I love this. You know what? Collective Arts, we had our differences with all the things. If you ever want to see me laugh like an absolute idiot for probably 15 minutes straight, Watch the All the Things tasting. That was fun.
Last 50.
This,
Especially.
yeah, this is the opposite. This is excellent. Oh, you get the oak in the barrels. You get the richness and roundness from the tawny port. Now, I will point out they actually made 4 different ones. I brought this whole line in with the idea that I was going to do a mixed 4-pack of these, and then they arrived, and I realized it would be a mixed 4-pack for $28, and I realized, no, we'll sell them as singles for $6.95. But they're all different. So, with this series, Collective Arts collaborated with a different craft brewery for each one. So this one was with the Garage Project, this was with Equilibrium, with Lervig, and with... my eyes aren't good enough. With Vitamin C Brewing. Oh, sea as an ocean. Fun. They're all different. They're all very, very good. Mike actually said we should take these off the shelf and just drink them ourselves. They were so good. Like, they were too good for customers. I disagree, but I really like this brewery. I really like this stout. I love the different types of oak coming into play here. I like the chocolate and vanilla coming in and just enriching the experience. Cough syrup for some people, that's fair. Very Imperial, definite side of the tongue singles, yep. And Deirdre's top beer of the night. I will actually agree with that. I think this is the top beer of the night. I kind of knew that going in. I think I'm more impressed with how well the Moody showed out of this lineup than anything. Like, I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, and I expect this to be maybe the most varied rankings of all of our tastings, because there's been people who loved this, hated that, loved this, hated the other thing. It's gonna be controversial tonight. I love that. Yeah. Let's see how this goes. And definitely sticks to the mouth. Can I talk about the Pinot Noir side of the Origin of Darkness? I mean, I assume they're adding the whole berries? Can I really say I'm picking up anything other than like a little tiny bit of dark fruit? No, I think the Pinot Noir here is maybe adding some acidity, maybe adding some firmness, but it's not really adding much in terms of flavor. There's no Pinot Noir here for me. Like, there's a bit of fruit, but this is all chocolate and vanilla and kind of that port barrel character. There's certainly no Pinot to me. Deirdre is 413. Oh, I love how controversial all of this is. It's 1, 2, giant gap 4, giant gap 3, 4, 1, and 2. Oh, I love this. Oh, it would have absolutely been a nightmare to brew. This would have gotten stuck 3 or 4 times. 3, 1, 4, 2, 4, 1, 3, 2. I love how controversial. You know what? We always have this very, not quite group thing sort of thing, but we all generally agree to a point. This one, oh wow, oh, I love that. I love that people hate some of these beers. We are always so consistent. This one's so wildly divisive. Yes, please.
Like throwing up Coke and red wine at the same time.
Yeah. Why are you drinking Mussolini's, Aaron? For those not familiar, Mussolini is red wine and Coca-Cola, and it's awful, and you should never drink them. Yes? Yeah, Mussolini is about 3 or 4 ounces of red wine to like a glass of Coke with ice, and it's god-awful.
Why is Megan drinking those?
Dead last is 3. 1, 2, 3... Really? 1, 2, 3, 4.
You don't have one.
All right.
I don't think I will.
Well, we've certainly made some divisive, controversial comments.
Absolutely. I think
so,
like, I don't know. You may have found the audience is like second to all the things here with this Fuego. I don't know.
I liked it, but you know what? If we're not pushing the envelope, we're dying. So
Absolutely.
let's just keep pushing crazy stuff until it breaks. So, no. Yeah. Oh, come on. I've been to Dairy Queen. Their mop buckets don't taste that bad, I'm sure. It probably tastes like flamethrower sauce and pickles and 3D old blizzards, which tasted so much better than all the things.
Sure.
So, no. Anyone who chooses the 2 first must have COVID. Oh, I love that it's now turning into like judgment on other people.
Yeah.
I don't have any judgment on anyone. I just think that anyone who chooses the Youngs is wrong. And yep. And you know what? Tonight's tasting was supposed to be decadent and dumb, and we don't do a lot of 11% beers for a very good reason. It was fun, and I hope you all had fun too, because I certainly did. Oh yeah, you should cook with the Fuego, because that would make killer chili.
Yeah, good
or
chili, that's what I said.
Or even better, like short ribs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I love short ribs.
Totally.
All right, folks, we are going to call it there, because that was a very quick and fun 35 minutes. I can't believe we got through it that fast, but we did.
Zing.
So here we are, and we've all had 2 cans of 11.5% beer. So we're going to take down some lighting rigs and things. Thank you all so much for joining us. We'll see you for Hell's Basement next week. Have a wonderful night, and goodbye.